Okay, so one of the big questions of the offseason has been answered. I feel like it was answered a while ago when we now just have it officially. When I had been doing my previews, I had just been assuming Rodgers would play for the Steelers, and yes, that will now officially happen as he has finally signed a deal with the Steelers. Not exactly sure why it took so long. In fact, I even made a video yesterday talking about like, hey, this still hasn't happened. That's kind of weird, right? And then of course, I guess he must be subscribed to this channel and decided to sign. Okay, no, that's probably not what happened. But yeah, interesting here. So it's a 1 year, $20 million deal. So this is according to Tom Pelissero. Contract parameters have been in place for months. Rodgers has said publicly he told teams that he'll play for $20 million, and the sides need to finalize the contract. Once he signs, he's expected to be on the field when minicamp begins Tuesday. So the idea of maybe him waiting to sign until after minicamp, that is not the case. He will at least be there for that, although he did not show up for OTAs. That is still worth noting. OTAs are not mandatory, but traditionally quarterbacks want to be in OTAs, especially when you're playing for a new team. Famously, Tom Brady was very big on when he went to Tampa Bay, getting practice done early with these guys. Also Matthew Stafford, something similar. Both those guys won Super Bowls the first year with their team. But we don't know what Rodgers has been doing. Again, he's such a off the radar guy in some ways and very on the radar in other ways type of guy that maybe him and DK Metcalf have been working together secretly for forever. I don't know. But ultimately, yes, Aaron Rodgers will play for the Steelers, and it's interesting. I'm interested in seeing how this is gonna work out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think to kind of preview the Steelers as a whole, I think it's interesting because on paper, you can easily talk yourself into this team, right? So first, Aaron Rodgers, let's talk about just him as a player for a bit. Me personally, I kind of disagree with the narrative that he was old and slow and wasn't quite as good. I just don't fully agree with that. I think that he still would move a little bit. Yeah, he's not what he once was, but he still could move, a little when he had to, and knows how to run, knows where to run in certain situations. He did not look like a guy afraid to get hit, in my opinion, and for the most part was a pretty solid quarterback. To me, the biggest issue I had with him last year was how many miscommunications there were, and I think part of it was because he didn't, play preseason and he didn't play a ton, and he also was kind of late and not showing up to every one of these practices that are not mandatory heading into the season. If he kind of famously was on a vacation and missed part of training camp last season with the Jets, all that stuff. But ultimately, I think he's a pretty good quarterback, and I think you look at all the issues that went wrong for the Jets, the play of Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, was not the biggest issue. Now, again, if you want to argue some of the other stuff, some of the wonkiness or, whatever that he brings to the table along with it, including some of the friends that he would bring to the table in terms of coaches and other players and stuff, that was part of the issue, fine. But as a whole, I thought he played pretty well. You're in a situation now where DK Metcalf, I think, is a very good wide receiver. Now, a bit of an interesting fit, and just think about it, maybe this is part of why they decided to move off of Pickens, because Rodgers doesn't love jump ball receivers. That's never been his favorite thing. Metcalf can get separation, but also is a great jump ball guy. We'll have to see how well their chemistry works, because again, him and Adams had great chemistry. Him and Devontae Adams had great chemistry, and Rodgers would throw it up to Adams. He wouldn't do that to everybody, including Mike Williams, who they could never get on the same page with the Jets. There is that. But ultimately, this is an okay offensive line. You have Pat Freiermuth, you have DK Metcalf, you have some weapons. I think Roman Wilson could have a good year stepping into it. And then you have the defense, which is, again, I still think there are some question marks with the secondary in particular, but we've seen them have question marks in the secondary and survive it due to how good their front seven usually is. They can just be okay in the secondary. It's sometimes then in the playoffs when they're playing against good teams gets exposed. We've seen that before too. But again, they're going to have a great pass rush. The Steelers are going to have really talented things. So yeah, I mean, listen, there's ways you can talk yourself into this. I do think if you're a Steelers fan, this happening before training camp has to make you feel a little better, right? Like, I think if you're a Steelers fan, you probably knew this was going to happen. I think the fact that it's happening now has to make you feel like, okay, listen, like this, at least now he will be. It's said that he will play mandatory minicamp, which is good. I didn't think that was going to happen. So the fact that that's happening shows that at least he is going to be putting in some effort here because you need that. You need to make sure that his heart's still in the game if you're going to play. My personal opinion on this is, on paper, I think it fits. If this is Madden, I'm saying these are smart moves. I do just wonder a little bit about, like, is his heart still in it, and is this the right move right now, right? Is it worth it for the Pittsburgh Steelers in this situation? It feels like a bit of a gamble, but I'm sure the way that they view it is, hey, look at Brett Favre. Brett Favre did not look great coming off of the Jets. He then goes to the Vikings and has a great season. If Aaron Rodgers can just play well, $20 million for quarterback deals is basically nothing. That is a very small amount of money to be paying for a quarterback when you have guys legitimately making 3 times as much. Dak Prescott is making $60 million. Like, that's a huge gap. You're talking $40 million between the top guy and Rodgers. And so Rodgers doesn't necessarily have to be an elite quarterback for the Steelers to be successful. I think we saw last year where the Steelers, for a moment, looked like they were going to be different last year because Russell Wilson had that good stretch, and then he kind of, he was okay in the playoffs, but ultimately not good enough. Again, they could have had Russell Wilson for $10 million if they wanted. They decided to go here with Rodgers for $20, and we'll see if this can be something that can work out and something that can make things happen. I do think this is the perfect situation for Rodgers, because it seems like, hey, they kind of let you skip the OTAs and things like that, and maybe the waiting to sign was just they thought it would draw less attention to him skipping OTAs. They didn't want another scandal like that. Maybe that was the logic. But I do think for Rodgers, you're now in a situation where you don't have to be a superstar. You don't have to carry the team. You can rely on your defense. Rodgers does like to, his ideal play style is to protect the football, make the big plays when you have to. You need a good defense to have that style, and now he has that. So that's interesting to see how it's going to work out. And yeah, again, the Steelers, hey, listen, for all the Steelers' faults over the years, they've consistently been a playoff contender and at least a playoff team. Usually they don't do much when they get there, but they've consistently done that. So it's not crazy to think that a 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers could get there. If Mason Rudolph can get them to 500, maybe 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers can get them into the playoffs, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, should be an interesting move. My gut is I'm not fully sure if this is going to work out, but I think that's just a fair thing you have to bank on after how poorly it went with the Jets, but we'll see. It should be interesting. But those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from ya, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.